This is 372 pages. We'll never get back. I'm Michael J. Nelson. With me, Connor Listoka, of course. An exciting moment for us because it's new book time.
New book time, baby. What will we experience in the next couple weeks that we are? what will seem normal to us in the next couple weeks that we've never heard of now? Forensic accounting, traveling across Africa in the span of a single weekend.
A group of college kids with the power to inflict death on the entire planet. Yeah, that seems normal. Something like that will suddenly seem normal, or there'll be something in our vocabulary that we'll just toss out, and we'll be in an old folks' home many years from now and just say it to our nurse, and they'll be like, sure, Mr. Nelson. No, I read it. I did. I read it for
the honored. He could hold his breath for 20 minutes, and he was in the troika.
That's great. Let's get that blanket over your knees.
Well, I think this one has a real chance to turn our understanding of the world on its head, because it's a listener recommendation, a guy that we trust for delivering the goods. But before we get into it, this will tie in. I thought it would be fun to have you go through and. First of all, are you aware that HBO is rebooting the Harry Potter series? They're going to make a TV show just based on the books, I was not aware of that. Would it be like a sitcom thing with the teacher at the front of the class? Potter! Exclamation mark.
Okay. I was not aware of that.
Does it seem a little unnecessary to you? A little early? A little cash grabby?
Well, what was the span between the Spider-Mans and their reboot? As long as you stay within that framework.
Okay, well, I think that was like one of those shows that get canceled while it's on the air. They recast Spider-Man, on the red carpet, essentially.
Okay.
Well, they are. But so in celebration of that, I thought it'd be fun for you, a person who has seen every single Harry Potter movie.
Every single Harry Potter.
We covered them all, and not even seen, but like drilled down on.
Deep dives into them.
Weeks with them.
Many, many hours with them, going through them frame by frame.
Granted, the last one was a long time ago, but it does, that sort of seeps in. I thought it'd be fun to sort of just ask you to recap to the best of your ability, like walk us through that series. If the libraries were all taken from us, they were blipped out of existence, and you were like that guy in the Beatles movie. You're like, I'm going to make all this money by recreating the Harry Potter series. What are your notes? What is your outline of that, so you can start earning
it's like
billions
that game,
of dollars?
The game where you go, like, if you go back in time and you could tell people, like, what kind of technology could you? Well, we had these things. You'd hold them, and you could talk into them. Great. How do we get those? I don't know.
You might as well be a first grader being like, I'm going to invent the internet.
Okay. So I'm ready to do that. Will you at least give me the movies?
Yes,
titles?
I can start it. The very first one came out in 2001. So I was still in college. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Also known as Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in America.
Oh, okay. That one's easy. That's Harry Potter lives with the horrible family, and he lives under the stairs, and an owl comes and brings him to school, an invite to go to school. So he goes to school, and he meets Richard Harris.
Yep.
And Richard Harris is his
Dumbledore.
Yeah,
Dumbledore.
There's a giant or something.
Yep, Hagrid.
And he learns potions, and they're like, "Oh, you're the chosen one. You have a lightning bolt on your head."
Yeah.
And they throw balls at him and go, "Lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt."
That may have been a different video that
falls
you're thinking
down.
The game that they play, they teach you to play the game. They do have a game there.
Quidditch?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So that's easy. And then at the end, he fights the guy with no nose.
Correct.
For some reason. I can't remember why he fights him. Snape? Is that his name?
Snape? No, Snape is Alan Rickman. He fights Voldemort. who is in this
Voldemort.
movie, he's on the back of the turban guy's head. There's a turban guy who takes off, Professor Quirrell takes off his thing, and then there's like a really 2001, Scorpion King, The Rock, CGI Ralph Fiennes back there as Voldemort.
Let me guess in a generic way. I won't have the specifics. Some teacher seems to be either good / or evil, and then they turn out to be bad / good. So whatever the
Yes.
somebody flips, and you didn't think it would be possible, but they're not who they say they are.
Yeah, they've got Harry like pinned against the wall. They're like slapping him back and forth, and then at the end, it's like, "I promised your mother I would do that," and he's like, "Oh, that makes it okay."
Put this jockstrap on your head. Do it.
Yes.
Sniff it. Wear it for the day.
It was your mother's dying wish. Oh, now you're my godfather, right?
Yes. Okay, so that's that first one.
So then the next one was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I'll admit that even my knowledge of like the specifics of these movies starts to blend in, but like any beats you can remember just in general.
He goes back to school. The paintings are there.
Sure, yeah.
Someone, the evil dude is in a mirror. Maybe. I don't know.
This is
and then he fights
asking
him.
AI circa 2016 to describe these. It's like drunk history.
Yes.
What did the evil dude in the mirror do?
I don't know. Stole his lightning bolt. I don't know. I don't remember this at all. I don't know.
Okay.
The owl is there.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban was the third movie in the series, and by many the most acclaimed because it was directed by Gravity's Alfonso Cuarón.
Oh, okay. The third one is what is it called?
The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, the prisoner is like his dad or something.
His father is famously dead, but his
All right.
father and mother. That's why he lived with the horrible people under
But
the stairs.
the prisoner's is his stepdad or something. He turns he's a werewolf.
Ah, yeah, there you go. Yes, it's Gary Oldman. Lupin is a werewolf, and he's lurking about the campus and killing chickens and stuff. And then it turns out he's been sent there to protect him.
Okay.
Okay. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. You'll remember this one. This one has a specific guest star from another.
Do not
series of
remember.
movies.
Oh, the Twilight kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and he is in love with Hermione,
Yes. Wow.
and they meet on a bridge, and they make out or something.
Perhaps.
And
yeah.
then
And it ends happily for him.
I don't remember what happens to him. The goblet I don't remember at all. They play Quidditch, I'm assuming. There's some pod racing. I don't know. I don't remember that one at all.
What's his name dies? Edward Cullen dies. Cedric Diggory.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if that's the first kid that dies in this book, but it's not the last.
Does a Weasley die?
Towards the end, one of the Weasley twins dies. You remember the Weasley twins? They're like the Waldorf and Statler of the group. They are always yucking it up, and
They're hitting each other in the crotch and stuff.
yeah, they open a joke shop by the end of it. They open a prank shop. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix was next. I think this is when the death count really ratcheted up.
The Order of the Phoenix was that the chubby guy who used to be in the Mike Newell films? He's a part rat or something.
Yes, there is that guy. I think he might have been early movie, but he's around as well.
All right, okay.
I forget if he's good or bad. Actually, he must be bad.
And Emma Thompson's in it, and she's bad.
She has to have been in these.
Okay.
There was the one. One of them has the evil lady who comes in and it takes over the school and makes him write in his name in blood.
Oh, okay.
Don't remember that. Do you remember anything about the bad family who's his rival?
Bad family. Oh, yeah, they look like the dragon people from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget what their names are.
Draco Malfoy.
Draco Malfoy.
And his father, who looked like one of the brothers from Nelson, who sang "After the Rain."
Yes.
There's three more movies, but I think we've established that your understanding of the series is grasping at straws at best. Do you have any remembrance of the Half-Blood Prince? There was a major spoiler in that one. It was like a Kaiser Soze kind of spoiler. Someone killed somebody.
Whomping Willow? Was that in that one?
No, but I'm surprised the toilet ghost hasn't come up yet.
Oh, Toilet Ghost too. That was pretty early though, right?
Yes, I don't think she became a major fixture of the. They were like, let's earn $3 billion. The toilet ghost is what's holding us back here. But Snape killed Dumbledore in that one.
Oh,
He threw him off a building or something, or maybe he Avada Kedavra'd him.
was Dumbledore was like coming out of the woods, and then he had his arms up like Christ on the cross, and then they played Barber's Adagio for strings as he got shot in the back by Snape.
Yes, it was very subtle. But it turned out, as we said before, that he was doing that. Like Dumbledore had been like, "You've got to do this for me, Snape."
Oh, you've got to kill me?
Yes, for whatever reason. He it was in order to protect, the bond or something like that. I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Yeah, I'm not. I'm batting 135. I'm the shortstop for the Twins circa 1986 here.
Well, all this was a setup just to get some funny clips to make fun of you with, but then two, because we are going to be doing a book that's tangentially related to this universe. And it is a book that was submitted to us by Mark, who also submitted Caleb's Dream.
So this guy's really got his finger on the pulse of literature.
He sent it to my house, as a matter of fact. Every now and then I'll give my address to one of these people that listen to our podcast that I've never met, and he sent us a copy of this book. You probably remember this, though, even if you don't remember the Harry Potter specifics. Like a trial, like 25 years ago, where a woman claimed that she had written a book called Larry Potter.
Yes. I certainly remember that. And, it's one of those things. What is that phenomenon where you read the paper about something you know everything about, and you read it and you go like, nope, wrong.
Right.
Garbage. Nope, you're wrong about that. Every single fact in this is wrong. And then you turn the page and you read it and go, well, this is fascinating. Wow. And that was my knowledge of like, wow, it sounds amazing. Larry Potter, the Muggles, like this is clearly, wow, she's in big trouble. So that was my only knowledge of it.
You mean like the McDonald's coffee lawsuit, which was, late night fodder. And then it turned out like, oh no, there actually was, the coffee was like superheated beyond boiling, and like they hadn't fixed it, and they like laughed at her and et cetera.
Yes, the injuries were horrific, apparently, like just like gruesome.
And it was for me, it was just Jay Leno yucking it up, being like, "What's next? Suing someone who, your fries are a little soggy?" Like,
yeah, I ate a chicken McNugget and I bit the inside of my mouth, so you owe me $4 million. I think that's fair, right?
There's a lot of stuff from that era that's sort of been, you look back on it. Or efforts to make it seem like there was like Tanya Harding. People were like, well, she was, in an abusive relationship. Same with Bobbitt, even the Menendez brothers recently.
Yeah, I mean, the moon landing clearly didn't happen.
Well, this story is not one of those.
People, sorry.
This is not one of those.
Okay.
This is one where everything you suspect about it, like, is probably correct. That someone was like, I can make some quick money here. Because this author wrote, her name is Nancy Stouffer, or as you can see on the book, N.K. Stouffer. That's quite similar to J.K. Rowling, you might think. And the book is The Legend of Rah and the Muggles.
Wow, pretty spot on.
Although it was not always called that, and we'll get to that. But that's what this author did and claimed, is that she wrote a book, Larry Potter and His Best Friend Lily, which I sent you the cover of yesterday, I think. I'll send it again just so we can re-verify. I'll post it for everybody. What do you see amazing. It compared to what the Harry Potter was working with? It's a very funny thing.
It's the first impression of what's her name? Best friend Lily Potter.
Yes.
Or is it Lily Potter?
Well, Lily Potter was his mother in the book, so that was a coincidence.
Oh, okay. Lily looks like kind of if a child drew one of the the Aardman Entertainment, like Wallace and Gromit kind of a thing, like cheese Gromit, with the extended mouth, and so it doesn't look anything like. It is a boy with glasses.
Sure, but however, we will get to this because to get ahead of it, that is not the original cover of the book. But just so to set the stage for this book in theory came out in the 80s. It had a different title at that time. It was just called Rah. But all this took place, what we're about to talk about, in 2001. So there have been 4 Harry Potter books, and the first movie was going to come out in September. And so it was clearly a phenomenon, but it was not. Nobody knew that this was going to be like the most successful thing of all time. But
wait, the book was just called Rah?
The book that we're going to read, yes, was just called Rah.
So it was called the thing that you hold up on little pennants when you go to a 1920s football game.
Yep,
wear your raccoon coat,
your muskrat coat, and say "Sis Boom Ba." Chant harass them, make them relinquish the ball.
Okay.
So this author, Nancy N.K. Stouffer, has been making some noise in the world because of these Harry Potter books that says she wrote books, activity books really, like 24-page things that you would buy in like a rack at the drugstore in the 80s. And they did feature characters named Larry and Lily Potter. Larry wore glasses. But she also wrote books about Muggles, which is what this book Rah was all about. And do you remember what Muggles were in Harry Potter?
Humans, right?
Yeah, they're just the humans that did not have magic, but it was sort of tossed around as like, the M word, essentially. Like it was a slur for, or mudblood was what they called Hermione.
Right. I was like half, right? Like
I think, if your parents were not wizards, then you were that, and that was what Draco always.
Octoroon or whatever.
But the Muggles in this book are not humans. The New York Times described them as short, hairless, quasi-human mutants. And you don't have the book yet, but I mean, I'll try to hold up a picture for it. They're quite a strong taste, I think. Like if you can see that, that's a
that's a Muggle from the. That looks like Hermione.
Sort of like a potato-shaped head. Potentially, these drawings were done in a hurry to get this book into print in order to who's to say? But she claimed that, since she had this Larry Potter character in theory, and since she had Muggles, that this was a violation of, this had all been stolen, even though it comes out that Muggles was a term that's been around for a while. Like in the 30s, it meant one who was smoking that reefer. And like Louis Armstrong even had a song called Muggles.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah,
I knew that Louis Armstrong had a fondness for. Of course, I did.
But it never came up in like Reefer Madness or anything, being like the house was full of Muggles.
Did you know that this is a weird fact about Louis Armstrong? That to his friends, he would walk around his apartment for literally hours with his microphone recording device and describe to his friends like what he was doing, and then he's like, "Hey, excuse me, I got to go to the bathroom." And he would go to the bathroom and tape it.
Good Lord.
And just spend all day. And then he'd go, now I'm going to the kitchen. And he would just describe his entire day. And then he would just talk. He would advocate for this laxative that he took. He famously advertised for a laxative. And then he would send his friends these tapes that lasted 8 hours. And then he would call his friends and go so did you listen to the tape?
My God.
Because he would send them the device to listen to it, too. Because nobody had the capability, which is this is the greatest thing.
What goal in mind? Was he scatting off riffs and stuff to be like...
No, he's just kind of talking about his day, just kind of a... and he did this day after day after day, and then would send the tapes and then a thing, and they'd be like, oh, I don't have anything to play this on. He'd be like, I will send you that. Tell me.
Imagine the chill that goes down your spine when you see a friend calling you on the phone, and then when you pick up and you're like, "What's the matter?" And they're like, "Oh, I just wanted to chat." How shaken you are in that moment. Imagine if someone did that now. I just recorded my day. I'd like you to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, and then tests you on it. You can't even go "Yeah, I listened. That was when you when you went to the kitchen, that was fascinating. Like, I never went to the kitchen. Damn it.
I must have been thinking about yesterday. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Muggles are, it's been established, and there was also, I thought this was hilarious, a character on Capital Critters, that short-lived TV show. I think Stephen Bochco was behind it, that they rushed in to sort of compete with The Simpsons along with Fish Police and Family Dog.
Sure.
But Bobcat Goldthwait voiced the character of Muggle on there.
Oh, wow.
So Stouffer is like making noise about threatening a lawsuit because she says they've been, they ripped my stuff off. And Scholastic, who published the books, is kind of dubious because they're like, well, we can't find these books that you've written in print, and we're unclear that they ever actually existed. And she starts getting stories written about her because she's making noise about this. And this was, I thought, an amazing paragraph from a Washington Post story about her. It says, in the late 80s, Stouffer says the Larry Potter books were selling so well and licensing agreements were flooding in at such a rate that she projected annual earnings of an astonishing $1 billion.
Wow. She goes, full James Wen. I just sold my company for $1 billion.
And she says that during one 2.5 week period, her company received orders for $6.5 million. And she says how even with these orders in hand, her company fell apart, and she has no records of these gigantic sales because the studio in her home collapsed during a snowstorm in 1996.
Wow.
So it's like, a man was jumping on my bed, Dad. Like he threw water everywhere from that Bill Cosby routine. Just if you're going to lie, you've got to think of some plausible numbers here. But she also claimed that the reason that Scholastic would have then gotten J.K. Rowling to do these books about her is because she would go to some book trade shows and set up a booth trying to sell these books and merchandise. And she says that an editor at Scholastic named Arthur Levine must have seen them there and decided to rip them off. And she says that she once met with Levine and his wife, and then they expressed an interest in her Muggle characters.
Ah.
Levine had never been married and did not have a wife. So it was... They started to just pinpoint little holes in her story. It wasn't all like my roof collapsed and destroyed my receipts. She also claimed that Warner Brothers had approached her with a licensing deal for 7 figures in the 90s, but then retracted it and decided to go with J.K. Rowling.
So it's not like the Tom Waits thing, right, where they wanted him for some breakfast cereal or something.
Fritos.
Oh, was it Fritos? Okay,
yeah.
And they. But he's got all the records are available, and especially when you do discovery in court. Like, they approached me, I said no, so they went and just imitated me,
ripped it off,
so they can't do it. Yeah. Well, that's pretty clear what happened, and so yes, you are awarded. Yeah, you get it. But
Tom Waits, also has a manager. He has, he probably, has a lawyer as well. So yeah, that was a case that's still taught in law classes.
Oh wow.
This woman has none of those things, but there were other nuisance lawsuits going on around that day. A guy sued Goosebumps, the children R.L. Stine books. Yeah. Because they used a skeleton wearing a backwards hat and sunglasses on one of their book covers, and he had also designed a jersey for the Lithuanian basketball team that had a skeleton with backwards cap and sunglasses, and they ruled against that guy. They were pretty much being like, you cannot trademark the concept of a radical skeleton, sir. A skeleton with this much attitude belongs to the masses.
It's like I tried to sue the makers of Cool Dog because I put sunglasses on a dog long before they did. And I won that, and I was awarded the $15. So yeah,
Nelson versus Cool Dog. Wow, that was more than double their budget. You really,
yes, exactly.
That was double damages.
It was punitive as well. Yes.
Now, I would like to just call the attention to this dog that is wearing sunglasses, and I would like to not ask you: is this not a cool, if not radical, dog?
And he sees the jury's faces like, oh, he's pretty cool.
I would like to call my surprise witness a skateboarding dog. So Scholastic is like, I'm tired of this woman saying that she's going to sue us, so they like essentially countersue her to nip this in the bud. And the case was Scholastic Inc. versus Stouffer. And I went and I looked through like the court documents here, and it's fascinating. We'll post a link to them in the thing because it's quite funny. But her case started to fall apart very quickly. She claimed that she had trademarked the word Muggles back in the day, and in order to prove this, she showed an ad in a magazine called Playthings, which was like an industry toy magazine, I guess.
Okay.
And she was advertising her Larry Potter and Muggle books, and she was like, "Look, I have an ad here from Playthings magazine that says Muggles trademark from." What is this? Rah, The Legend of Rah, and the Muggles trademark. And Scholastic was like, well, we have the ad from Playthings magazine, and that phrase is not in it.
Oh, dear.
And then the legalese was, Stouffer concedes that the copy attached to her counterclaims differs from the version of the advertisement that actually ran in Playthings. However, she maintains she attached the altered copy to her counterclaims in the good faith belief that it accurately depicted the ad as run in March of 1987. She does not offer a specific explanation as to how the additional phrase appeared.
Oh, wow.
The court believes this indicates Stouffer has willfully altered the document for the purposes of perpetrating a fraud on the court.
Wow.
So she just sort of went back, like a sixth grader trying to add something to their test, being like, oh, no, you missed where I said that Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, and they're like, that's in a different color marker than the rest of your test, which was written in pencil.
Yeah, it's my sixth grade trying to change my grade when I brought it home. You used to have to, like, walk up to your parents and hand them your grades. I got a D or an F or something, and I tried to change it.
You've got a jeweler's loop on the bus trying to...
It just looks like garbage. My parents immediately...
Yeah, so your parents see through it. The lawyers for Scholastic, the biggest children's book publisher in the world, are like, yeah. Not the only time she tried to do this. She also produced her booklet for The Legend of Rah and the Muggles. So to be clear, this book was being reissued in 2001 when all this is going down, because a local publisher who would go bankrupt the following year was like, we'll capitalize on this. We'll put this book back out. But she had her book for Legend of Rah and the Muggles that was allegedly printed in the 80s. However, the witnesses noticed that the phrase "the Legend of" and then the words "and the Muggles" were written in a printing style or a font that could not have existed due to 1991. They were like that font came in like Adobe InDesign, and it didn't appear until 1991. So she also conceded that these additional words were added to the title page, and she did not know exactly when the words were added or by what printing method.
I told you yesterday I'd watch this TV movie about the trial of this, get to know the backstory of the people, do it in cheesy recreations, but then the actual trial, I'm a sucker for as soon as they go into the courtroom, I'm like, I'm in, man. I want to see every second of this. And watching her get caught on the stand doing that is just like, wow.
Oh, yeah. Because, you have to imagine, Scholastic just comes straight from New York with a team of, 7, of the high priced lawyers you can get. And she essentially must have Lionel Hutz, who either advised her to do this or had no idea she was doing all this.
Their lawyers come in on the private jet, and they're like, just keep the jet running. This shouldn't take that long.
The lawyers are calling themselves the Dream Team? Is that even possible? How come I don't have a Dream Team? She also did the same thing with Larry Potter and his best friend Lily. The original activity book, I guess, had that. Only had one reference where the guy was actually called Larry Potter.
Okay.
So it was Larry and his best friend Lily. And the one reference to Larry Potter, Scholastic had expert witnesses in the printing world say that uses a font that was not available until 1993. And you claimed you wrote this in 1987. And it says that she had created it to give the false impression she had published a Larry Potter book prior to this litigation. So the one that we'll put a picture of, that is a Larry Potter book, but that isn't necessarily what she claimed she was doing in 1987.
Wasn't it like you sent me a thing of it? It's like a friends and family thing too. Of like they were going to publish a whole series of these activity books, and then they just kind of went, out of their garage or whatever, and they went bankrupt or.
Right, because back in 1987, if you wanted to actually publish something, it required a bit more effort than, putting Caleb's Dream on Amazon. But yeah, they had a whole thing that was going to publish like 130 books a year was their grand vision or something like that, or 130 books in this series. And, they did get a few of those out there in theory. They were going to put them in Acme grocery stores throughout Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware, I think. Let me just find this. They had she provided sales receipts, it's being like, I sold them to Acme. They were on the shelves. There you go. The salesperson listed on the invoices testified that it was not his signature on the invoices and that the sales never took place.
Oh, dear.
So I like that they kept, maybe the other guys did, but she kept being like, all right, so that evidence was false. That evidence was false. However, you'll see from the sales receipt that this was going to be the ace up my sleeve that proves all of this.
And remember, I made $1 billion on this, but my shed collapsed and my $1 billion got destroyed in the shed collapse.
But the court sort of starts to realize this, and I don't know who writes this. I don't know if this is like the judge or his team who writes these things. But they essentially realize that there's no merit to any of these allegations, and they start to have a little fun with it. This is some of the text they use because they're like, okay, even if this was true, it says the plaintiff's use of Harry Potter as a character in the Harry Potter books is not likely to cause confusion with Stouffer's use of Larry Potter. As an initial matter, the evidence in the record does not conclusively establish that Stouffer even used the words Larry Potter in any books published prior to this litigation. The undisputed evidence produced by plaintiffs indicate that the paragraphs containing the words Larry Potter were printed using technology that was not available while her publishing company was in existence. In fact, the only evidence in the record indicating that Stouffer actually created a booklet containing the words Larry Potter prior to 1999 is the testimony of her nephew, William O'Brien.
Oh. Hey, what are you doing today, William?
Yeah.
Nothing as usual. Hey, you want to come down to my multi-billion-dollar lawsuit and testify on my behalf?
Get to the clip-on tie, I'll buy you lunch.
What kind of sandwich? Well, it's kind of up to you. Anything on the menu? Anything on the left side of the menu? Okay.
Oh, and then it says that the plaintiff's use of Harry Potter does not create a likelihood of confusion. Stouffer's Larry Potter appears in an 11-page booklet about a boy who is sad because he has to wear eyeglasses. Larry has brown or orange hair. I guess that's funny because the hair must change depending on when she illustrated it. And glasses with non-circular lenses and speckled brown frames. In contrast, Harry Potter is a young orphan boy with dark brown or black hair, a scar in the shape of a lightning bolt on his forehead, and distinctive eyeglasses with black frames and circular lenses. Aside from the similar, though not identical, names of the main characters and the fact that both Larry and Harry are boys with glasses, Stouffer's booklet and plaintiff's books, along with the accompanying illustrations, have almost nothing in common. No reasonable juror could find a likelihood of confusion between Larry Potter and Harry Potter.
Wow. It reminds me of my son. When he was young, he had to get glasses, which is never a good moment. I did when I was in third grade. It's like a terrible moment. Like, oh, now when I play football in the quad, I'm going to crush my glasses. My parents would literally murder me. They murdered me many times.
Yeah. Why did you not take them
your
off
glasses?
The fourth time.
I'll drive you back to Sears. But my son wore glasses, and he does not look anything like Harry Potter, but everywhere we went, people were like, is that because of Harry Potter?
Oh my God.
My son was like, what? I could see him visibly, just a tiny, cute little boy, like, I'll fight you.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, they're just making conversation. You just got to live with it. It was just glasses. It had nothing that didn't look like them. He doesn't look like Harry Potter. What in the hell are you talking about? But had to live through that.
It's like, how dare you, ma'am? I look like Harry Potter? No, I have permed my hair, so I look like Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
However, but
I have a broccoli cut, ma'am.
There are other similarities, besides the Larry Potter and thing that are, you'd have to be somewhat confused with them. I think she listed 40 of them on her website, but the word Nimbus shows up in both books. She invented a species of Muggles named Neville, who is a character in Harry Potter. However, the judge noted that that is an extremely common British name.
Yes.
In one of her stories, a character knocks 3 times on a wooden door. In Rowling's, a character knocks 3 times on an oak door. I mean, that's, take it from there. I'm probably owed at least $250 million based on that.
Well, they would be sued by Tony Orlando in a song from the 70s, "Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me." Right, kids?
There we go. Was that pre or post Dawn?
Oh, no, Dawn was with him for that.
Okay.
I'm sorry I didn't mention Dawn.
Yes, Dawn erasure, please.
Did you know, by the way, this is the 3rd grade joke, mildly off-color warning alert for this? Do you know they Tony Orlando was missing, but they found him at the crack of dawn.
That would be definitely what I'd pretend to laugh at as a 3rd grader, not knowing
I don't know what that
the
means.
band was or what it meant. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, and it's also Dawn is 2 women, so I don't know what that.
Oh, really? I think that Gareth made a similar joke to about Dawn in the British office as well.
Okay.
And then this was my favorite ruling from the similarities. It says Stouffer asserts that the plaintiff's use of messenger owls, one of the things you remembered from the book, Hedwig, his owl, in the Harry Potter books, could create confusion between Harry Potter and Legend of Rah and the Muggles. However, Stouffer's work does not contain owls who deliver mail. Rather, it contains an albino hawk named Seymour, who acts as a scout as the leader of the Muggles, and who delivers food to the Nevilles on the island of Desra. No reasonable juror could find a likelihood of confusion between the 2 parties' works based simply on the fact that both contain birds who are employed to carry an object from one place to another. So it does seem like, a judge's clerk who probably has to deal in just horrible interstate commerce acts, or who has water rights to this canal. It's holy crap, this is an amazing trial. I'm going to have some fun with these judgments I am writing out now.
My chance to shine, finally.
And then there's one more fraudulent alteration. It says that this is weird, and I didn't really entirely understand it, but I guess that an arm of Warner's publishing department did enter into a draft agreement, a formality, a precursor to an agreement with Stouffer in the 80s. And it says that to maybe eventually distribute books or something. It says the draft agreement submitted by Stouffer, which is dated October 20th, 1988, contains an exhibit listing the 5 books which were to be distributed by Warner Publishing or something. The 3rd of which is Rah. Legend of Rah and the Muggles, I guess. However, on the other 2 copies of that same draft agreement that Warner possesses, the 3rd title listed on the exhibit is The Land of the Nother One, Not Rah. And upon close inspection of the version submitted by Stouffer, it is clear that the word Rah is not aligned with the other words on the page. Clearly, the word Rah was added to the draft agreement after the document was originally created. And it says Stouffer recognizes that the versions of the draft agreement that she submitted with her counterclaims was altered, although she denies altering the document herself. Maybe her nephew William? I don't know.
Oh, wow. So these are the kind of things you want to file countersuit and punish the person, right? But I'm sure the lawyers are just look, just walk away, man. You don't do this. This happens. We have, peek behind the curtain at Riff Tracks. We have NDAs all over the place. But let me just say, in general, these mad people who think they own things do stuff like this, altering documents and doing all this. And then you got to go man, come on. And
right.
But always you just have to walk away. Where my instinct is I want to go slash his tires. You can't do that.
Well, yeah, this woman at least is making life difficult for Scholastic, who has a market cap of however many $1 billion. When they're coming after Riff Tracks, it's a little different in terms of it being no, you're just talking to me here. You're not talking to my dream team of lawyers. This is come on. I gotta
You're stepping up to the wrong company with the pockets are not deep here. It's like, yeah, but mine are even less deep than yours. So I'm going to like, okay, I guess.
I don't understand. You make movies and Avatar is a movie. And I saw that Avatar grossed $2 billion. So I don't
I assume you have.
Well, to what you were saying, they still opted to file judgment against her, and her claims were dismissed with prejudice, and she was ordered to pay $50,000 plus the attorney's fees and stuff. So everything about this is as absurd as you probably initially thought it was. She was found liable for all this stuff, and she still went ahead and like re-released the book, and you can still buy some of the Larry Potter, whatever they are, on Amazon. They do not seem very popular, but they are not what you may have thought, like a legitimate claim to all of this. There's some odd coincidences, and then probably some coincidences that were added after the fact, like George Lucas adding in digital Jabba the Hutt to the original Star Wars. Although maybe even more glaring than that.
Also, anyone who's ever gotten a judgment, have you ever gotten a judgment against someone?
No, God willing.
I have. It was like a weird, I don't know, in an apartment situation where they kept a bunch of our money for a deposit. And you're young.
Oh, sure. I've had that happen.
Yeah, well, we won judgment against them. And it's like, okay, so here's the $4,000, whatever. Well, you can't get your money. You can't just walk up to them and go, give me. You have to, like, garnish them and everything. So it takes years to get it. So, like, the fact that you are ordered to pay $50,000 in restitution. Like, they never got their money.
A fly flies out of her pocket. Like,
yes. So, just because you're awarded it does not mean you get the money.
Certainly. Oh, but, she did. Yeah, I guess a lot of the things about her were about the claims she was making, and not necessarily the result of this trial, which was probably, page C23 or something, like woman who made claims found all were made up. But she still had a website, realmuggles.com, that's now offline, but it was online as late as 2016. It's still on archive.org. And it says, she said, there is no question that it's very difficult to have a voice when the very people who are the attackers in this battle either control or influence nearly all of the worldwide media sources. Which, my hackles go up when I hear people making claims about the worldwide media. It sort of tends to not be something that you really, I'm gonna prejudice me against your argument if that's something that usually goes along with it.
Well, especially, Harry Potter is pretty big, and the companies that they're involved with are pretty big, but I don't know that they control the worldwide media.
Well, then who does, Mike?
Well, I have a couple theories on that.
Pulls down the chart. And then this was published by a Maryland-based company called Thurman House, who had issued the book, and she threw them under the bus too. That says you had failed my contractual obligations, including there was no editing. I had no final approval of the books before they were printed and distributed. It was a complete failure to adequately promote or advertise the books. Sales of licensing and publishing rights were outside of any control of the author. There was a failure to provide the author with accurate accounting, as well as any money received from sales, and a complete failure to make any payment due to the author. So it was a debacle with this book as well, which is now out of print, and all the copies are used. So
remember when was it the Grammys or something where Prince went on and did a performance and he wrote "slave" on his face? She would do that at Scholastic book fairs, and people were like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, I'm just really trying to get the next boxcar children lady. Could you please move so I can Muggles? So she doesn't have a online persona anymore. She appears to still be just alive and offline, going about her life here, but she has not published a new Larry Potter or Muggles book in a long time. This is the Legend of Rah and the Muggles is available for lending on archive.org as well, so we'll link to that. But it's going to be, I don't think it's as rare as Super Constitution, but you're going to want to get out there and get your copy now before they jack up the price when they realize that there's a demand for it.
How's is her nephew still online, or
That's a good question. I have not. He has a much more common name, so it'll be Bill O'Brien is a hard thing to track down. But I don't know. Maybe we can talk to him.
not exactly one of like the people in OJ's orbit where they get to like go on shows and stuff after the fact.
Right. Kato Kaelin got to be in movies after all that was done.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's to me, it was as fascinating as you could hope for as a backstory. And according to Mark, who submitted it in, he's like, and the book, lives up to the hype because it's insane. I've heard things about, nuclear holocausts and mutants and rants about stuff. So I'm very excited to it. And it's on the shorter side.
Usually we discover these things after we read like a cozy mystery, and then we discover, oh, this nice old lady like stole the whole thing, which is always a shock. We discover that at the last moment. The scandal is built in. This is nice.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, the sussy plagiarism scandal is sort of like, I don't know, it's like the other side of the coin from this.
I forgot that was the name.
But at least Sussy didn't try to, alter the How to Write Cozy Mysteries book to make it seem like it was, originally written by her or something like that. It says here you're the co-author here, but that's written in crayon on the front of the book, Sussy. That's not going to be admissible here.
Your Honor, my client has not altered anything. Oh, Lionel Hutz, he's missed.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited. I think it's going to be fun. It'll be fun to see how many of the purported similarities there are here. So if our listeners can spot them, that'll be fun because as we have demonstrated, we're not going to be eagle-eyed about every minor thing from the Harry Potter universe.
I will read all the Harry Potter books before we read this to make sure that I keep on top of all of this. That is my pledge to you.
It would be, if there was a toilet ghost in this book, that would be like, oh, right, okay. If that was like the thing that the judge was like, however, based on the existence of this moaning Myrtle character who lives in a toilet, we must award in favor of the defendant, N.K. Stouffer.
That'd be great if, like, she forgot to bring that up, like, toilet ghost, and then, the judge is like, despite the appearance of a toilet ghost, and then she, like, reaches into her crochet bag. Oh, I forgot about that, but yeah, I have toilet ghost material here. Like,
too late, spam!
Yep, the exhibits have not been entered. Gavel.
Her attorney was cautioning her. It was like the opposite of OJ trying on the glove. It's like, no. You gotta sit on that one. No one's that's not gonna move the needle. William O'Brien is afterwards her nephew, just like being like, I told you. No. Told you should have brought the toilet ghost, Aunt Nancy.
We sharing the curly fries? We don't know you. I'm sure, Mr. O'Brien, we're sorry. That was parody.
Parody, satire, a fictional character.
Yes.
All right. So, yeah, we'll post the reading assignment in here. That'll probably be the first third of the book. Good luck getting a copy, and we'll post the link to get it. And enjoy The Legend of Rah and the Muggles, formerly Rah.
All right. Thanks, everyone.